Welcome to the Penny Bloom Podcast. Ain't another place that has got more bombast. Romp past your mom, dad's listening to Tomcats, talking everything that make you sad. We don't want that. We're here to make you smile. Put your mind at ease. Peace, love, and bloom, and always praise Keanu Reeves. This what we about. This some weeding now. We'll talk until we can't no more, and then we peacing out. Alright, let's go. Penny Bloom Podcast. It's the Penny Bloom Podcast. Penny Bloom Podcast. It's the Penny Bloom Podcast. Penny Bloom Podcast. Penny Bloom Podcast.
Hello, everybody, and welcome in to Winter is Blooming, a Game of Thrones rewatch podcast by us, the Penny Bloom Podcast. Today, we are on to Season 6, Episode 4, titled Book of the Stranger, written by D&D, David Benioff and D.B. Weiss, directed by Daniel Sackheim. I am Colton Robertson. I am joined by Joseph George. What's up, homie?
Oh, what up, what up? Always a pleasure to be here.
Oh, and it is always a pleasure to have you. We got a goodie on the docket for us today. How are you feeling about Season 6, Episode 4 of Thrones here?
A lot of a happy cry in this one, and I love that it's right off the bat too. Just giving us what we want, which is always nice.
You love it. You want it.
Oh yeah, to have a happy crying in episode, and then also a very triumphant ending, like a very badass. Let's fucking go. As Jon gets his rise, and we're on board with him. Daenerys just keeps going herself as well.
I slept on Season 6, Episode 4 and what it had to offer, my boy. You know, obviously last week you said something about how the ending of this episode was coming about. It was like, oh, that's sneaking up on us a lot faster than we anticipated. And I was very, very excited for that. But what I did not remember, and what is one of my favorite little building blocks of a longer conflict that will be resolved by the end of the season, is come and see. I love the come and see letter.
God,
that is
dude.
So fucking good.
Holy shit. Ramsay? Dude, piece of
Smith.
Terrible, but dude is ruling by fear and manipulating, getting because Winterfell is it's impenetrable, you know. He's getting him. Obviously, he's gonna come home and try to get his home back.
Yeah,
and especially if Sansa's there, even more so. It's gonna happen. And I Ramsay, man, gotta give it to him. Just a sick son of a bitch, and knows how to pull the right strings.
Oh boy, yeah,
man,
he does.
Damn, and some strong scenes at the wall. Always strong.
Always the wall. Season 5 and 6. Season 4 even. You could argue this is where it is. This is where it's at. This is the heart of this show at present. Because I enjoy the Daenerys stuff in Marine. I don't think it's it's very good. But I'd say that we've been on this conquest. We've been on this building, this we're getting there, and now in Marine we've gotten there. And it's kind of this, it's not a stalling point for her story, but it's this trial run in ruling, and it takes its time to develop, usually where that's the other highlight that we can go to is Daenerys' story. I feel like that's been a little on the back burner for a little bit now.
Yeah, it has been. I don't know. She has just been a prisoner in transport for a little bit now.
For all of Season 6 so far.
So it haven't really got much, but now she's back on her bullshit. And Jon, it's we've reached this peak. He's literally been killed, and now we're in this weird territory where it's if you're a first time viewer, you're like, where the like, what is he gonna do? Like, he can do anything, you know? Like, he doesn't give a fuck anymore. He has, in his eyes, served his, you know. And we were talking about like the loophole or like the words of the vow, and like Dolores Ed and John have that conversation. You know, they're like, until your last day or whatever. And he's like, I can't fucking stay here, dude. They killed me. They literally killed me.
Do you expect me to stay, brother? I think I'm out of this bitch, and I don't have any moral qualms with leaving.
That's funny. He's not even worried about the loophole. I thought like the loophole came into play, and he's like, no, I literally died. Like, I'm good. But he literally is using it as just like, no, they killed me. I'm not going to stay here, obviously.
Yeah. No, like I died. I gave my life is the Night's Watch, and I gave my life. Yeah. So I'm done. I'm out.
I hanged a boy.
Yeah. No, if you're ready, I am ready to tear into this one, as it's a goodie. So we will kick it off in King's Landing, where underneath the great Septa Baelor, Septa Unella enters Queen Marjorie Tyrell's cell and leads her to a private meeting with the High Sparrow. And the High Sparrow asks Marjorie what she would do if he allowed her to leave that day. And Marjorie replies that she wants to return to her family and to her husband, Tommen. And the High Sparrow respects her love for her family, but tells her that the attachment leads to sin, citing his experience as a cobbler. And Marjorie manages to impress the Sparrow with her knowledge of the Book of the Stranger, which she admits Septa Unella had read at her. And the High Sparrow chuckles and agrees that Unella has a habit of reading at people instead of to them. The High Sparrow then recounts how in his youth he was a bit of a womanizer and quite the heavy drinker. The High Sparrow fucked, ladies and gentlemen.
I don't know, he's kind of like just going on his crazy college stories or something. I don't know.
I used to.
I don't know.
I think you could just tell I used to be a piece of shit. Have you ever watched I Think You Should Leave? Tim Robinson?
No.
Some of the best sketch comedy of all time. But that's what this reminded me of. Oh, I used to be a piece of shit. You can tell I used to be a piece of shit.
Wow. I don't know. I loved this performance out of him out of nowhere though. I was watching the episode, and there wasn't particularly like any standouts yet. You know, Kit Harington's always good, and having Sansa like them see each other is good to see, and Lena Headey's always Lena Headey, but like there wasn't like a standout like, oh wow, like that was great. But then I don't know, this slow zoom where he's like almost looking directly into camera, telling this story. I don't know. It was very, very weird. Like, very weird, because at the same time in my head, I'm just like, man, this dude, like, back in the day was just, you know, not at all. Yeah, what he is now. Like, he's in, like, I don't know. If Marjorie recognized that he was telling a story of, you know, one of their biblical stories, basically. Do you think if she didn't recognize that, he just finishes the story the biblical way? Or do you think because she recognizes it, he changed the end of it and, like, actually got real there for a moment?
I think that I think you got a keen understanding of the High Sparrow at this point, and how I think you're right in that he's able to think on his feet a little bit. Like I think that he does kind of go, oh, okay. So you get the idea of what I'm trying to get at. So let's get to the point, you know, like I think maybe he gets to this point anyway, but he doesn't have to take the stop off at explaining the actual biblical end of the story. You know what I'm saying? But I thought this was an incredible scene. I almost went with Marjorie for my character. And it's not because of this, it's because of what happens in a little bit. That's just so fucking good, in terms of performance, in terms of character work. It's a really, really great scene here. But yeah, he explains, underwent a conversion experience the morning after an orgy, as his drunken guests lay naked all around his house.
Damn.
Tired of what he was now perceiving as a meaningless existence, just fucking too damn much. And the High Sparrow turned his life around and became a devoted member of the Faith of the Seven. He then left his job as a cobbler and devoted his life to the poor and destitute. And believing he has found a way to reach Marjorie, he allows her to visit Loris. And it's this visit that I was like, I fucking love Marjorie. You know, like, I know that I'm big, like, I love Cersei right now, and this rewatch has given me a lot of reason to love Cersei, but it's never given me a reason to hate Marjorie. I've always liked Marjorie, you know, and this was just one of the best human moments of this entire show. One of my favorite moments as an older sibling as well, which I believe Marjorie is the older sister of Loris, where she finds Loris dejected, lying on the floor of a cell, and Loris has lost the will to continue resisting. But Marjorie tells him that he has to stay strong for the future of Loris Tyrell. If you give in, they win. And Loris goes, let them win. Just make it stop. And when Marjorie's like, oh, okay. You know, like, she's like, all right, like, I will do anything to get you out of this now. Like, now that I see where you are mentally, emotionally, physically, if you cannot take another second of this, I will not allow it to keep going. And I think that's just so fucking cool.
Yeah.
Like, it was really moving stuff, and it's moving just talking about it now. I thought that she was so damn good.
I guess we only have like 6 episodes left with her. You know, Cersei, I think the reason she's so cool amongst this watch is, like, we know that we're with her for a much, much longer time, and she has quite the rise to her. But Marjorie, at the end of the day, blows up in the Sept.
You do try to detach yourself from the characters that you know are gonna go in a sudden burst, you know, like, but this was one of those moments that just made me remember how much I like Marjorie. Not only that, but she's been locked up for almost a full fucking season now.
It was nice to see her, just even in the first place. And not
in a capacity, because the last time I think we saw her prior to this with any ounce of agency was when Cersei visited her, and she, like, threw the food across the cell and was like, "Get out, you bitch!" You know, like that whole thing, which was also really good. But yeah, there's just, if there was not a just obvious character choice this episode, it would have been Marjorie for me. I thought she did incredible.
They like to spice up the end. You know, the endings for the episodes are always fucking.
They leave you wanting. You know, they're like, you want to come back for more. You know.
It was pretty clear, but Marjorie, that is a good choice. Would be valid for second place this episode. But yeah, poor Loris. Who knows what they're doing to Loris? You know, like,
it's got to be bad. Be bad.
I don't think it's good. Because he's not having it.
No.
But yeah,
a little bit.
All the emotions there, like that Marjorie had to go through, of being like, all right, no, like, she has, like, she's playing her own game as well in there too, you know.
Natalie Dormer is fucking great. She's actually, as you know, I just rewatched all the Hunger Games movies, and she's in Mockingjay Part 1 and 2, in a very, very compelling capacity. One of the more interesting characters in those movies, and she is so fucking good in it. And it's like, it's jarring, like, she's nothing like Marjorie Tyrell, and it's just like one of those things where you're reminded how good some actors are, because all I've seen her in besides that is this. So, like, whenever she popped up, I was like, oh shit, yeah, you know, she's fucking good. But anywho, We continue in King's Landing at the Red Keep, where Cersei walks in on Grand Maester Pycelle advising King Tommen in private to accommodate the High Sparrow and the Faith Militant. And Cersei requests, Pycelle, fuck you doing here, man? He's like, I am a member of the small council. And she's like, this is not a small council meeting. And he's like, but the king, he wishes me to be here. And I love the King Tommen being like, you can go. It's all right. Mm-hmm. Get the fuck out of here. You can tell he's kind of annoyed. He's like, all right, get out. It's okay. The slow shuffling walk around the table to the other side. And I almost went with Julian Glover as the performance for one single fucking look. And it's when he stops at the door, looks at Cersei and gives that little smirk and then keeps walking. I'm like, oh, that was fucking great.
So good. So good. I feel like Cersei is the only one who knows. And like Pycelle is like knows that she's like knows that she knows, sort of thing. And
for sure.
Man, I was wondering, is Pycelle's game like to be annoying on purpose, and like, or does he actually just like speak his mind straight to Tommen and be like, in thinking that he will just trust his opinion?
My thing here is that my read of this scene is that Pycelle thinks he's doing a lot more than what he is. You know, he's recently done the whole thing where they walk out on the small council meeting and he's feeling real high and mighty. He's feeling like he's got the king's ear. But Tommen's reaction whenever he's like, it's okay, you can go, is very clearly, I've not been listening to a word this motherfucker's saying, and he's just talking. He just showed up, was like, may I speak to the king, please? And he's been talking ever since.
Yeah. I don't think his conversations are very entertaining, at all. So like, I wonder.
I think Pycelle, like, the funniest thing about Pycelle, it reminds me, a new fun way to view Pycelle is like in lieu of The Killer with from David Fincher with Michael Fassbender. A gentleman who thinks he's doing a lot better at his job than he is. I think he's just got a really stupid fucking method that he thinks works, but doesn't at all. And I think that's the thing, is that he thinks he's being portrayed as an old, wizened man who people respect and want to hear from. That's what he thinks he's putting off. But everyone perceives him as an annoying old fuck.
Wow. No, I think you're spot on. And it's worked back in the day, I guess. Because I mean, seemingly he's been there. I mean, he's been on the small council for a
long time
before the Mad King, or was that his start?
I'm not sure. I know for at least the Mad King, and I think he said that he's served kings prior as well.
So I mean, it's worked, I guess. But now, I guess Cersei seeing through it is where it ended. Working for him
but during this conversation with Cersei, Tommen proposes that the Iron Throne not antagonize the Sparrows further in an effort to avoid endangering Marjorie. And Cersei reminds her son, you know, like, you remember what they did to me? What happened here? And you know, she's like, they'll do that to her, you know, like, we got to do something about it.
Yeah.
And she convinces her son that the High Sparrow has no respect for kings, queens, society. And Tommen then reveals a secret that the High Sparrow shared with him. And armed with this new information, Cersei barges into a small council meeting with Kevin, Olenna, and Jaime. And while Kevin and Olenna are initially hostile, Cersei's like, shut the fuck up. I've got motivations now that will aid you, but they'll aid me in the long run, and I can't tell you that part, but
yep.
I got ideas.
Yeah, they're like, hey, remember when I had to walk naked through the street and all that stuff?
They're going to do that to Marjorie.
That's happening. So how do you feel about that one, Olenna? And she's like, all right, we'll hear you out. You know, that's not
Jamie's
happening.
like, your armies, march them into King's Landing, crush the Faith Militant, maybe kill the High Sparrow if you can. That'd be dope. If not, no big deal. We'll figure that out later. And Kevin's like, Tommen has expressly forbid us to use the Lannister army to make a move against the Great Sept. And he says, have you been expressly told to just let it happen? To not just let it happen? He's like, no. And he's like, good enough. Fuck off then, Kevin. Great little moment there as well. And Jaime suggests that Olenna send House Tyrell's army to the city instead. And, you know, Kevin wouldn't be breaking any commands, and Tyrell army will surround the Great Sept, intimidating the Sparrows into releasing Marjorie and Loras without any actual bloodshed. And by the time Tommen finds out, what needs to be done will have already happened, and he'll be happy with the outcome. And Kevin's like, okay, but it'll go bad if we fail. And Cersei's like, you know, what about Lancel? Have you just given up on your son completely? What about what they're doing to your son? And he's like, oh yeah, I have a son. I forgot. And so did you. So did everyone watching.
Yeah, that's how forgetful Kevin is. Fucking Kevin.
Kevin. Goddamn Kevin.
Did I declare him the next just funnel of hatred after Ollie? Or was that someone else? Was it Kevin? I feel like it's Kevin. But it will end. It will end.
Not before long.
So I have to find someone new shortly. But for right now, yeah, I don't know. Kevin's just I don't know. There's something about him that I just don't like at all.
He's just a dunce. He's a fucking moron. I don't like him. But that concludes the story in King's Landing, and we head then to the Wall, wherein at Castle Black, Dolorous Ed watches Jon Snow pack up his things, and Ed's like, so you're really gonna leave? Where the fuck are you gonna go? Jon's like, south. And he's like, where to south? And he's like, I don't know, somewhere so far south that I'm comfy and cozy.
Yeah. And meanwhile,
and he's like, we were at Hardhome together. You know what's coming. How could you just leave us like this? And he's like, brother, I'm done. I don't give a fuck. I'm out. Okay?
Yeah. Honestly, like, kind of a fair point from Ed, you know.
Oh, yeah.
Because, I don't know. I guess he has just kind of given up. Like, if Sansa did not show up here, it would be very interesting to see where Jon would have gone. And it's wow.
And I know we keep getting to this point. This marks a new beginning for Jon. The rest of the show starts this episode for Jon.
Damn.
And we will get there. But Jon's like, I gave my life for the Night's Watch. I can't trust anybody here after what happened besides you. And, you know, Ed's like, but the army of the dead. Blah, blah, blah. And he's like, yeah, but shit, man, I'm not going to make a difference. One person in this 38-man squad here is not going to fuck everything, is going to make everything fall apart.
Yeah.
Like, it's over before it begins, bro. But at that moment, the horns sound for the arrival of travelers. And it is Brienne of Tarth, Podrick Payne, and none other than Sansa Stark riding through the gates and dismounting in the courtyard. And when Jon steps out and he locks eyes with Sansa and he walks down the stairs real slowly, they stare at each other for a second and then run into each other's arms.
Come on.
I am crying, bro.
Come on. I was already starting to like well up a little bit, like whenever they were seeing each other, and I'm like, oh, this is gonna be good. I'm like, oh, I know this is gonna be good.
Yeah.
And then
words, just
when the music swells, yeah, I was like, I put it down as my favorite scene right away. I was like,
I did too, and the only reason I changed it is because you have it, and there's another scene that we gotta show some love to. Yeah. So like, in terms of an emotional resonance, this is it.
My God,
is the fucking scene of the
episode.
How
long has it been since
and not only that, but the fact this is so loaded. And it's because of a conversation they have a little later. like next, but you know, Sansa's like, I was terrible to you. I was cruel to you. I hated you and you hated me.
Yeah.
And the fact that is not even, that is the smallest of their concerns now. They're like, you are my family and I am so fucking happy to see you. Fuck everything else that's ever happened between us.
Yeah.
And I love that.
Yeah, it's a moment that happens with your siblings. That's weird. It has happened with my sister most definitely. It's like, you know, we're like in that adult phase where you can't really truly just hate each other anymore. There's still a little bit of that sibling hate, but it's
you know, you got a rivalry going on. Like,
yeah.
And this is obviously an extreme level of that. He was the bastard son. They alienated him. They didn't like him as much, and so on and so forth. But like, I remember distinctly a day when I was like
just chill
15 and my brother was like 12, and we were like, we fought like every single day, and then one day it was like, we just didn't do that anymore. And it's like,
like, why did we do this? Why did we fight for so many years? Yeah, like, there's so many pointless battles.
You are my blood. You are my brother, you know?
And now it's over. I don't know.
We fought.
Yeah.
We lost. Now we rest.
War changes everyone. You know, we've all been through it.
But dude, I loved this. It was so fucking good, and also, I gave Sophie Turner my performance for the episode. I like Sophie Turner a ton, and rewatching the series has just shown me how good of an actress she became over the course of the show. Like, she was she was always good. She was always a good actress, but she is now one of the top 5 performers in the show, man. And this show is stacked to the brim with performers, man. And she is so fucking good. But yeah, that little moment where they're sitting by the fire later that night and they reminisce on their childhood, you know, apologizing, and, you know, John's like, we were children. She was like, but I am sorry. Forgive me, you know. He's like, there's nothing to forgive. She goes, no, forgive me. And
even John was like, yeah, you kind of were terrible.
Dude, you were cruel. That was tough.
Damn. Yeah, he's like, yeah, you actually were kind of a piece of shit. You're just trying so hard to be mom. I get it. Whatever. It's in the past. We have much, much bigger things to worry about now.
Much larger fish to fry.
One, the Night King. You know, we don't really know the full extent, but we know it's not good. 2, our home is not ours anymore. And our,
dude, like this part whenever she's like, let's do it. Where do we go next? You know, or where are you going to go next? And he's like, where do we go? And she's like, we, and he's like, father's ghost would haunt me and kill me if I didn't watch over you now.
Good old Ned's ghost literally being mentioned, and it's still haunting.
Still overshadowing everything. But you know, whenever she's like, okay, where will we go? And then she throws out the recommendation, you know, let's take back Winterfell. That's when he delivers, John delivers my line of the episode when they're going back and forth after he's like, no, I'm not doing that. It's not, what are we just going to ask the Boltons to hand it over? And he goes, I'm tired of fighting. It's all I've done since I left home. I've killed brothers of the Night's Watch. I've killed wildlings. I've killed men that I admire. I hanged a boy younger than Bran. I fought, and I lost. Yeah. That little callback to the last episode, it also anchored this idea that whenever he says, I've killed men that I admire, talking about Alistair Thorne.
You think?
I think so. Yeah. Well, he's also talking about Corrin Halfhand, but
Mace, Mance
Raider. Yep.
Maybe the Mercy kill. Yeah, definitely.
But there's an obvious degree of, I think that John's actions and the mercy he shows Alistair time after time shows he admires his dedication. When he names him First Ranger, he does not have to do that. You do have to admire him to a degree to be like, you are obviously the right man for this job. You know what I'm saying? And maybe it is just that, but I do think it's not an enjoyment of somebody. It's not a love of somebody, but I do think he admired his dedication to the watch. But Mance Raider is definitely more accurately the one he's talking about there. But to anchor the line with "I fought and I lost," I think shows how much Alistair's last words stuck with him, which is why I kind of took it to be a little bit more.
Yeah. The big loss is being killed by your own, I feel.
Oh, yeah.
I feel like also a little double, also Hard Home. I feel like he was never truly the same after Hard Home. After seeing that, I don't think really anyone is the same. Just a lot of emotions that John is going through right now.
The reason I picked this line is because more than anything, I think I will come away from the show. There are a lot of endings in the show that I think I will have more problems with than I did the first time I watched it. I have never, ever had a problem with John going north of the wall and not doing a fucking thing with the Seven Kingdoms at the end of the show. And after this line, I was like, thank fucking God he's out. You know, like, because that's all he does the rest of the show until he goes north. All he does is fight. He does not stop until he goes north of the wall. That's when he's done.
And you gotta fight to survive out there. The dude's still fighting to this day. Like he still can't even really rest. I guess he's he can do all right in the cold. You know, he knows.
Well, there's also a turning point north of the wall now. If you recall at the end of the show, where the green is starting to show again, grass is growing, and you know the Night King's dead, the Army of the Dead's gone. It's like, you know, there's a potential for the North to become something greater again, and I think that's the heralding that John's going to do. But
this is true.
Regardless, yeah, that was my favorite line of the episode. I just thought that it was perfectly encapsulated John's motivations for the rest of the series. Everything he does because he has to. And as soon as he doesn't have to do anything, he goes, then I'm fucking gone. You know?
I need to rest. Like, oh my God. He's so, like, yeah, you're right. Dude is he's gonna go through it from this point on.
He said, I've been fighting since I came here. Season 1, episode 3 to season 8, episode 6. Bro never fucking stopped. He just kept trying. Just kept going. I think that's fucking nuts. And he's not the only one, but like everyone finds their version of that, I feel like.
Man.
But next up, we see Davos asking whether Melisandre will stay at Castle Black. And she replies, I will do as Jon Snow commands. He is the prince that was promised. And he's like, forgive me, my lady, but I thought the prince who was promised was Stannis. And, you know, she's like, he was defeated. I was clearly wrong. He's like, what happened there, by the way? I still don't get it. What happened there? So he was defeated in battle. Yeah. What happened to Shireen? You know, like, why was the princess killed? And Melisandre is reluctant to speak, and she is saved by the bell in way of Brienne of Tarth, who's like, you guys are talking about Stannis Baratheon, huh? Yeah. No, everything you're saying is true. He confessed. He confessed to, you know, killing, you know, King Renly using blood magic. Looks at Melisandre as like, the dots are connecting now. I see it. And then he goes, he confessed it right before I executed him. Y'all want to do anything about it? You know, kind of like a try me, bitch. You know, like I'll ride or die. And you know, Davos is like, well, that was a long time ago, my lady. And he's, you know, Brienne responds, you know, yeah, but that doesn't mean I forget or I forgive.
Almost a line there.
Yeah,
that was pretty nice, and I love the looks that Tormund just gives Brienne,
dude.
Like when the moment Brienne walks in, like whenever they even come in, Tormund's already like, "Oh my god,
that's the woman for me."
Yeah. And I think it's
the big woman.
Yeah,
as he regards her from here on in.
God,
no, dude, absolutely fantastic, and we get a little bit more of that here, where sometime later Jon receives a letter while they're eating dinner. I love that the Night's Watchmen are just fucking pounding food, and Brienne and Sansa are watching them like, oh man.
Yeah, it's not looking good. No one's saying a word to this awkward silence, and Dolores Ed has to be the one to be like, sorry guys, like I know the food is so shit. Like we're not known for our food. I'm so sorry.
And the little, and we skipped over this earlier, but the little sibling moment earlier in the episode, whenever Sansa like reaches out for the flagon of ale, and Jon's like,
yeah,
okay, you know, like you can take a shot at this.
All right,
I know you ain't gonna fuck with it, but take a rip.
I was here at one point as well.
Yes, indeed.
It's rite of passage. Welcome to the wall. This is how we do shit. And
you'd think after thousands of years we would have figured out how to make a good ale,
or
with good food or anything.
Crew, with 38 men, I don't know. The chances of one of them being an expert brewer are very slim at that point.
Yeah, it's probably very, very bare bones. Their brewery thing they got going on, but Jon is approached by a Night's Watchman who's like, Lord Commander, and he goes, I'm not your Lord Commander, but I will take that letter. You know, like
thank you for
in lieu of you not having an obvious replacement, I will take it. You know, he receives a letter from Ramsay Bolton, stating that he has Rickon Stark at Winterfell, and if Sansa is not returned, he will slaughter every wildling at Castle Black. Let his men rape Sansa and feed Jon and Rickon to his dogs. Come and see. And I loved watching this like flip a fucking switch. You know, Jon looks at Tormund, and Tormund's like, "Yep, I got 2,000 men ready to fucking go. Let's do this thing." You know, like.
And like Jon, like he's reluctant. You know, he's still like he's
like,
God, sure. You know, he's like, oh man, this is like not what I wanted right away. You know, I have been fighting, and I just said I don't want to fight anymore. But
these are fighting words.
And Sansa, I don't know. This is where my line comes in. Is whenever like Sansa tells him, "You're the son of the last true Warden of the North. The Northern families are loyal, and they'll fight for you if you ask. A monster has taken our home and our brother. We have to go back to Winterfell and save them both." And I was just like, yeah, you do. Yes, you do. This Battle of the Bastards prelude, you know, this is like the face-off, you know, this is like,
building up.
This is the weigh-in, you know, sort of thing. 2,000 men, we got 2,000 wildling men, we got some northern families.
I fucking adore the way Jon's like reading the letter, and he goes, "It's just more of the same."
Yep,
and Sansa's like,
"Not going to continue."
Sansa's like, "Bullshit. That's about me. All right, let's read this thing." And then they get to the end. Tormund looks at Jon. Jon's like, looks over at Tormund. He goes, "How many men do you have ready to fight?" You know, and he's like, 2,000. You know, and like, I love that Tormund's like, and they'll be fucking down. You know, like they will ride for you, Jon. And that's what, like, I fucking love that. It's probably one of my favorite friendships in this show, aside from Jon and Sam, is Jon and Tormund, in this sort of branch between them that they have such a bromance. It's hilarious.
Oh, totally.
But
he admire, like, Tormund wants to put himself above Jon every time he can, but it's like he always has this admiration
this is my
for him.
That's like, God, man.
Yeah, like I'll do anything for this dude. Like I literally saw you come back to life. I mean, I have to follow you now. You know?
Like you're my boy, Blue.
Yeah.
But that concludes the story at the Wall, and we'll then head to Runestone, where Robin Arryn is training at his archery with Lord Jon Royce, and he is failing miserably at it. And Peter Baelish arrives with a retinue of Arryn guards and a pet falcon as a belated name day gift for Robin, much to his delight. And Royce reminds Baelish that Baelish told him that he was taking Robin's cousin Sansa with him to the Fingers, but Royce received word that she had been married to Ramsay Bolton. And Peter tells him, we were on our way, and Sansa and I got stopped by a large force of Bolton men. It appeared that they knew exactly where we were going and who we were carrying. That's weird.
Funny.
And Royce is like, what are you fucking doing, man? Don't play with me like that. And he's like, hey, Robin's Lord of the Vale. Let's see. Hey, Robin, this guy committed treason. What do you think we should do with him? And Robin's like, I don't know. What do you think we should do with him? I think we should throw him through the moon door, of course. And he's like, what do you think? And Peter's like, I think we ought to give him another chance. He's been very loyal, and we could need him in the wars to come. And he's like, okay, that's fine. And I love the way Baelish is just staring Jon Royce down the whole time, like, I hold all the power of the Vale. He is the Lord of the Vale, but he listens to every single word I say to a fucking T. So step to me, get fucking gone. It's over.
How he talks to him, and he's like, I forgot what he said, but Peter responds with like, oh, that's exactly what I was thinking too. Great thought,
Right.
You're so smart. Oh man, he's so like just playing it perfectly and like saying like, oh yeah, well, turns out you're the only one who knew this information. You're the only one I told specifically to see if you would literally rat. And it seems you did. And yeah, this, to Robin, it's nothing. He's like, it doesn't even fucking, this doesn't, it's so boring to him. It's not even registering at all. He's more interested in the Falcon the whole time. But like poor Royce here, just like actually being like is he like, am I about to die over this right now? Yeah. He's like, holy shit.
Getting
like
hung out to fucking dry.
What the fuck? Like, and then like this, the breath of relief he has when it's like, he's like, fine. He's like, oh my God. He's like, yeah, I'll be loyal. I got you. Like, I'm good. Like I'll be good. It was like, damn. Yeah. Poor dude. But cool scene though. Cool.
Oh yeah.
Beautiful location too. Always love, just the scenic, I don't know, grassy hills, that you get sometimes with Thrones.
You gotta love it.
Love that.
But yeah, that concluded the story there, and we boogie on down to Winterfell, or up to Winterfell, I suppose. But yeah, we say goodbye to a dear friend here. Osha is brought before Ramsay Bolton, who says that while her fellow captive Rickon Stark has value to Ramsay, he is unsure of her worth. And Osha's like, fuck the Starks. Their servitude was forced onto me, and I don't have any love for them. And she's like, I got what you need. I know what you want, and I know especially what you want if you gave it a bath first. So get on over here. Let's make it happen. Climbs onto his lap, begins kissing him, all the while trying to get the knife he had been using to peel apples. And Ramsay's like, oh yeah, this is fucking great. Oh man, you're a good talker. I like that. You're a much better talker than Theon Greyjoy. He took a little persuading, but yeah, he did tell me everything.
Yeah,
he told me who helped the Stark boys escape and how she did it. And that's when Osha's like, oh fuck, this isn't gonna go good. And she gets stabbed in the throat and bleeds out on the floor. And we say goodbye to a fucking real one. I loved Osha, man.
Damn it. And he literally uses that knife. He cleans it off and then takes a bite of an apple with that knife. And I'm like, God, Ramsay, you're just,
you are disgusting.
Man. Why you gotta be so like
you gotta be so
dramatic
rude.
about every kill. You know, he's got to make it up to be this just
whole fucking pageantry. It's
damn. But
it's annoying. Yeah. The fuck.
A sad goodbye.
It is, but
Osha.
It was only a matter of time.
Mm-hmm.
I knew it was coming. I hate to see it happen, but yeah, folks are gonna die. And she exits the show, Natalia Tena, with 2 performance nods.
Yeah.
I don't believe she ever got a character nod, but there was an episode where we both handed her the performance nod.
Yes,
so,
we did.
Well earned there.
Yeah.
For her.
Right.
But yeah, and that's all we get in Winterfell. So we then head on down to Pike, where Theon Greyjoy returns home. He learns of his father's death. He's welcome home. Dad's dead. And Yara's not very happy about his return, as he previously refused to return when she made an attempt to rescue him from Ramsay. And Theon's like, yeah, see, Ramsay tortured me and broke me into 1,000 little pieces. And Yara's like, oh yeah, send us your dick. So that's cool.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. And he I don't think he knew that at all, and he came to that realization, and it was like another, I don't know, I think like he just had flashbacks, you know, in that moment there. But you know, Yara understandably mad here, understandably upset, and then, you know, she's also like, wow, yeah, how convenient you to come back right after Dad dies. Like, you think you're gonna rule the Iron Islands? And then Theon's like, yeah, no, like I have
no aspirations to do anything like that, actually.
And you know, she pulls him close. Well, what the fuck you want then, huh? You know, what do you want? And I think he truly just wants to just chill. You know, he just wants to be at home and not do anything, really. So he's like, yeah, right. No, you rule, and I'll help you. Like, whatever you need, I don't care. I just want to be here and do normal Iron Island shit. I don't know. Anything that wasn't what I was doing before.
Right.
And, you know, maybe a sleeper performance here out of Yara. Plays Yara. Frick. I don't know the actor or actress that plays Yara. Yara. Gemma Whelan. Gemma Whelan or Gemma Whelan. But maybe Gemma a sleeper. Yeah, no, I did.
Yeah, no, she did really good here. I always enjoy Yara. That's one of those characters where I just wish we got more of her. Like whenever she's around, it's a good fucking scene, man. She's always anchoring it, and this one was especially good. You know, you've come back to be king. You know, like of course. And he's like, oh no, I'm not fit for that in the slightest. But I would love for you to rule. That'd be cool. I would like to help you any way I can. And that's when Yara's like, oh, okay, cool. Yeah, let's get down then. And that concludes the story in Pike. And we only got a couple locations left, so we're heading to Essos, where, in Meereen, Tyrion, along with Grey Worm, Missandei, and Varys, meet with representatives of the good masters of Astapor, the wise masters of Yunkai, the slave trading city of Atlantis. They've arrived by sea, and as the diplomatic mission enters the harbor, Grey Worm advocates using military force. How about we kill their ass, Tyrion? And Tyrion's like, no, we probably shouldn't. You know, I think we need to figure a way out of this. I was a slave, you know, and that's I now empathize with them greater than I ever have before. Missandei's like, yeah, sure. How long were you a slave?
Yeah.
He says, long enough to know. She goes, not long enough to understand. This episode did a great job of correcting the error that last episode made, where Tyrion kind of seemed to be high and mighty and know much more and be smarter than them, and they, you know, making them look dumb, but they really sunned him in this one.
Yeah, they did. They had their own thoughts and their own identity here, which was good. nice to see. And like
Yes, indeed.
very like back and forth. They didn't know what to do. You know, they're like
This is one of the best sections of Marine storytelling.
Yeah.
In the entire show. Like I loved this episode of Marine, the way that Missandei and Grey Worm are, they staunchly stand by what they believe in, but they recognize that they need to have a unified front and they need to present themselves as being of one mind, and they're understanding diplomacy more and, ruling more. And it's really, really compelling to watch. But the emissaries are Tyrion's former slave master, Yazan Zoquagaz, the Yunkai master, Razdal Moaraz, and Volanti Triarch, Aliko Painimion. Painimion is probably the accurate way to pronounce that. But in their meeting chambers...
Names, though, regardless.
Yeah.
Wow.
Yazan marvels that Tyrion has gone from being a nearly worthless slave to the de facto ruler of Marine. He's like, what the fuck happened there? And he's like, yeah, well, I'm pretty dope. I'm pretty dope with it. I got shit figured out. So your loss, my gain. But the slave trading cities offer to give Daenerys Targaryen and her mercenaries a large pot of money if they sail away from Slaver's Bay. And when Missandei defends Daenerys' actions in liberating slaves, Razdal contends that slavery has existed for centuries. And Tyrion's like, dude, you don't need slaves to make money. I grew up richer than all of you, and slavery hasn't existed in Westeros for centuries. And Razdal and Beliko look at each other, insulted, and while Yazan merely looks away from Tyrion, he appears to be contemplating his words of maintaining livelihood without the use of slaves, and after a grace period, to phase out slavery and to compensate slave owners that way, their eventual loss of slaves would not be so detrimental to them. And he's like, so how about you, we'll give you 7 years to phase out the practice.
Wild number to throw out there, Like, was he really planning and think that Daenerys would be there for 7 years, Like, that's kind of a long time.
I think I would wager... I know that like Missandei and Grey Worm argue against it later on as it being too long a time. And I agree wholeheartedly. 7 years feels like you're giving them a little too much time to regain their footing and figure out a way to maintain this.
Mm-hmm.
Maybe 3 years. And even that feels like it's pushing it. Like you can figure out a system to change shit in a couple years. You do not need 7.
Yeah, it was kind of a nuts number to throw out. Maybe he just needed it to be accepted no matter what. Yeah. And they'll do, when Daenerys comes back, she'll just make her decision anyways, or like whatever it's going to be.
Yeah, he's like, so we'll give you that, and you have to end your backing of the Sons of the Harpy. They're like, we don't back the Sons of the Harpy. And he's like, oh yeah, sure, but it'll stop all the same, right?
Oh, man, he's so good.
He says, you will not get a better offer. And Tyrion then gives them time to consider and brings in a plethora of prostitutes, sex workers for them. To which Missandei, Grey Worm are not very happy with. He's bringing the customs of Westeros over, and it's showing.
A taste of freedom or something like that is what he says, like something with taste and something with freedom. In regards to the women there, and
see if you like it.
For the time, what a businessman he is. I don't. With the practice, don't know, it's dirty. It's not ethical, but for the time, I think he solidified this deal quite comfortably. After this one conversation.
Oh yeah, they were super down. They loved this idea, mostly not because of what he says, but because of what I said. Yeah. This gives them more than enough time to figure out how to make sure this stays the same.
7 years. Cool. Great. We can have slaves legally again, even in the first place. okay, that's what we were fighting for in the first place. Yeah, see ya. And we're getting
Grey Worm and Missandei are both like, what the fuck are you doing, dude?
Yeah.
And Tyrion and his team are later confronted by a crowd of former slaves in the Marine throne room, where a freedman demands to know when Daenerys will return, while another is appalled at the idea of Tyrion negotiating with these men. And Tyrion insists that he is doing the best to rule the city in Daenerys' absence, and the freedmen do not trust him. They do trust Grey Worm, and they do trust Missandei, and they turn to them for reassurance. And despite their misgivings, they both publicly back Tyrion's diplomacy in front of the freedmen, and in private, they warn him that the masters will outmaneuver him. Despite his intelligence and his best efforts to use them, they will use him, because that is what they do. And they're right. They are correct. But that does conclude the story there. And we will top off the episode in Vaes Dothrak, where Jorah Mormont and Daario Naharis approach the outskirts of the city and discard their weapons. Drawing a blade in the city is considered sacrilege. I loved this whole thing where Dario's just giving him shit for being tired. You couldn't ride a dragon.
Yeah. He's like, oh, you're getting old, man. How crazy is it that I fuck her all the time, and it's so awesome. Isn't it crazy that you literally couldn't even handle it and you would die? Your heart
would give out. Your heart would fail.
Yeah. Wow. Holy, what?
Jorah goes, you weren't disciplined much as a child, were you? Never.
No. Yeah, no, actually never. God damn, Daario is just letting Jorah have it. Not letting up at all.
What's really fucking funny to me about this whole treatment of Jorah Mormont is that, he's not he's not a young man. He's certainly past his prime.
Yeah.
Bro's 50. It's not like he's a 70-year-old man who's on his last leg.
Yeah, no. Yeah, and then, man, damn. Whenever they're hiding the weapons, he even sees his grayscale, and Dara's just damn, you know what happens? He's
yeah.
He's not even oh shit, damn, you got grayscale. He's you know what happens to people that have grayscale, dude? I would love to tell you if you don't. But yeah, no, Daario's just loves to let Jorah have it.
I was looking into it. Michael Huisman is a full 20 years younger than Ian Glenn. So, he is old enough to be his dad, which I guess would give you a little bit more of a, if you're in that situation, you could be like, you old fuck,
Yeah.
But still, I don't know, man.
And, man, even the conversation of, yeah, we need each other right now, but after this, Jorah's after this when we don't need each other. And then Dara's just I don't want to fight you. What do I have to gain from that? If I win, I'm just the guy who beat an old man. But then if I lose, I'm the guy who got killed by an old man.
I'm the shit who killed an old man, or I'm the shit who got killed by an old man. I don't want either of that. And Jorah's fucking A.
Yeah, the roast
piece of shit. For some reason, I feel like they turned his assholery up to 12 in this one. He was poking at him last couple episodes, but I feel like this, they were just hammer him, just destroy him.
Yeah, I guess it makes sense. They're going across, the Dothraki Sea. It's nothing but desert, for a mile. So they're hungry and thirsty and probably just pissed. Dario's just this fucking sucks. I used to be in a pyramid fucking the queen every night. Now I'm with Jorah Mormont, in a desert. R2D2 and C3PO style.
Deadass.
So, yeah, he'd much rather be back doing what he was doing before.
Oh, for sure. But yeah, Jorah and Jorah's there are 100,000 Dothraki in the city. We are not fighting our way out. We will die. We don't stand a chance. So don't bring your weapons. We can figure out a way around it. And within the city itself, Jorah and Daario run afoul of a couple of dudes named Ago and Igo. And
nice.
they see through Jorah's claims to be a wine merchant And Dario takes care of Igo while Ago tackles Jorah. And the night is nearly undone, but Dario saves him at the last minute with the little knife he smuggled in.
Mm-hmm.
And as a precaution, Dario smashes Ago's skull with a rock to disguise his use of a bladed weapon. Which makes a lot of sense, of course. If you destroy a person's head while they have a stab wound through their chest, it'll probably distract away from the fact that there is a stab wound in his chest. Maybe.
Yeah, like maybe smash the stab wound a little
chest?
bit. Yeah. Or both. Or
just the whole thing. Really go nuts.
Yeah.
The Game of Thrones humor here, where he's like, "Good job, man," and then he just crushes the dude's skull a few times, and then he looks at Jordan. He's like, "Yeah," he's like, "Yeah, that good enough." It wasn't supposed to be. It was supposed to be funny. It shouldn't be funny, and it was hilarious.
No, it is. Yeah, that great. You would think they would show that. Actually, in Game of Thrones, they surprisingly probably just a lot of work to show a body that fucked up.
Yeah.
So they're like, yeah, well, we'll just not even bother with this one. But the sound.
Like you've seen a crushed skull, you know what that looks like.
We did see the mountain literally crush Pedro Pascal's skull. So,
you're familiar.
Mm-hmm.
But all the while,
I guess literally even in this season, we saw a giant slam a body against a wall, and the mountain also crush another dude's skull into a wall. So we're comfortable.
Episode,
yeah, we're comfortable with the idea.
At this point, we are quite familiar. But all the while, the High Priestess of the Dosh Khaleen gives Daenerys a commentary on the other crones. Some of them hate Daenerys, thinking that Dothraki should not breed with other races. And the High Priestess dismisses them, saying the Dothraki have always done this and have never been concerned with blood purity. And to illustrate her point, the High Priestess indicates to another of the Khaleen, a Lazarene girl named Ornella, taken from her village at the age of 12. And Daenerys asks her to relieve herself, and the High Priestess sends Ornella with her. And as they walk, Daenerys learns that Ornella's call died when she was only 16, and she's been in the Dosh Khaleen ever since.
That sucks.
And she's like, damn, shame he didn't die sooner. And Ornella's like, you know what? I kind of fuck with you, dog. You're right. You're cool. Right.
You're the only one in here that's below the age of 30. Let's go, Daenerys.
Exactly. Like, you get me.
Yeah.
But
you're the only one who doesn't smell bad. They both agreed that all of the old women smelled bad. That
was a funny little detail too. But as they walk, Daenerys learns this, and then they are interrupted by Jorah and Dario, who take the Lazarene hostage. And Daenerys is like, wait a fucking second. No, she's dope. Don't do that. And he's like, no, but she'll tell on us. And she's like, no, she won't. Let me talk to her for a second. Daenerys is rather unsurprised to see them, but is like, whatever y'all had planned, fucking scrap it. I've got an idea. Just hide, and I'll figure it out.
You'll know when to come. You'll get the signal. Okay. This was sick.
It's like, we will not make it out of here. You guys go hide. I got this.
Wanted to ask you if you had any weird feelings with this moment between Daenerys and Ornella, her name in here. Whenever she's like, have faith in me, like just believe in me and trust me, it's all gonna be okay, sort of thing. She does have a knife across her throat during this, she doesn't have a choice, sort of thing, and it is kind of like Daenerys being like, don't worry, like follow me, like have faith in me. It felt, they had their thing, and maybe it's just Dario holding her there, but it did kind of feel a little weird of being like, well, you're not really giving her much of a choice,
Yeah. No, I mean, I think that Ornella can gather that these dudes had their own agenda, and while they work for her, she did not sick them on her. Okay. So I think Ornella understands that Daenerys means well, even if these two are willing to take it a step further.
I agree.
And she reluctantly agrees, but she does agree. She's the one, she's a part of the group who locks the door and lets them get all burnt to the ground and shit. But yeah, she's got a plan. We're gonna execute. So during the Kalar Vezen, as it is regarded, the Khals argue about how to deal with Iggo and Ago's death, and Kalmaro's like, "Fuck them. Who cares? They died. Shame." But Daenerys is then brought in by the two priestesses she befriended before, and Moro feels she should join the Dosh Khaleen, but another call is like, what if we make her your Khaleesi? She's hot, one of them's like, I would like to know how she tastes, and the other one's like, well, then you can suck my dick. And it's like clever, but disgusting.
Yeah. Just the classic Game of Thrones.
Yes.
Dothraki talk.
Yeah, you got the little moment earlier in the episode where the Dothraki are like fucking in the streets, and Dario's like, "Man, I should have been born a Dothraki. This shit is awesome."
Yeah, his eyes are open to a whole new world that he had no idea existed.
He's like, I'm trying to ride with them. And I love the way Jorah's like intelligence of the Dothraki, his understanding comes back into play, and he's able to lend something here that was deeply important.
Yeah.
Even if it doesn't go his way. But another suggests giving her to the wise masters in exchange for 10,000 horses. And Moro's like, fuck them, I'll take their horses. And Daenerys is like, y'all better shut the fuck up. And they're like, oh, is that right? She's like, yeah, reminder, I ate the stallion's heart in here. The Dosh Khaleen declared my son the stallion who would mount the world. In the same temple we sit now, he swore to me that the Dothraki would cross the poison sea and that we would rule the fucking world. Y'all are tiny men. Y'all are weak.
Damn. Yeah. Whenever
y'all are unfit.
Your small villages that you'll raid, or whatever. Like, yeah, you guys are just nothing. You're nothing.
None of you are fit to lead the Dothraki. But I am. So I will. I was like, okay, yeah, no, that's my scene. That's my character. Daenerys is dope as shit. She knocks over these vats, starts burning the hut down. Everyone's dying. It's incredible.
Oh, yeah. One for the dramatic as well. She starts in the middle, like brought in as a prisoner, and then she does that slow walk around to like make herself the main character, sort of thing. Which was badass, and put her like
and
in
also
the
puts her in
middle
position to knock over these lamps.
Which was awesome, and I love the slow, knocking them over. And
whenever she sticks her hand on it and it doesn't burn her, and they're like,
yeah, like wait, what the fuck? They're like,
yeah, they're like, oh, wait a minute,
what? And they're all trapped by the front door, and she's like, it feels like she's breathing. This is her own version of
she's the dragon, baby. They woke her up,
and love. Her just walking out and everyone just instantly being like, yeah, okay, we follow you now. Nope. Like, it's just unanimous, like, no words, just like, well, you can't argue with that visual right there,
Nope.
Well, not all of our calls, like, everyone knows, they're like, well, all of our calls were in there. That building's on fire. You're not even touched and phased at all. They're obviously dead. We remember you, I think.
Khaleesi. This is the new queen, baby. She steps out of the fire. Everyone takes the knee. Dario's obviously never been privy to this. Jorah is still in awe, even though he has been. But Daario being like there's this, almost feels like there's this bond formed between Jorah and Daario in this moment, this unspoken thing where he's like, oh, okay. Yeah, no, I get it. I get why you're the way that you are. You know what I'm saying? Like, no wonder you are so utterly dedicated to her every move.
Jon. It's like after you see something like Jon coming back to life, for Daenerys being completely unburnt and birthing 3. Jorah saw her unburnt and birth 3 dragons.
Yeah,
we're just seeing her be unburnt, and that's automatic. That's already enough there.
Oh yeah,
no dragons needed here at all. So yeah, this was a badass moment. Daenerys did get the character for me as well.
deserved.
I had to. I mean, oh my god. Almost the performance as well. I just wanted to highlight, I guess, a role that he'll get blown up, and I don't think he has many performances.
No, that was his second performance nod.
So yeah, I think that I don't know. I don't know. It seemed fourth wall breaky at some point. Just a long stare into the camera for him. But Daenerys, I mean, Emilia Clarke.
No, I mean,
here.
Emilia Clarke is in
language,
second place for performances and hasn't gotten one. Got one 6 episodes ago in the penultimate episode of season 5.
Wow, yeah.
And prior to that, had not received one since the beginning of season 4. So the fact that she's still in second place and has gotten like 3 performance nods in the last 20 episodes is just kind of showing that we're spreading the love a bit when we don't go with Emilia Clarke as Daenerys Targaryen. This was her first character nod in a while. And we both gave her character, but it was the first character nod you gave her since
season 3, episode
season 3, episode 7, and it was the first character nod I'd given her since season 2, episode 10.
Wow, that's crazy. Yeah,
she's still sitting pretty with 9 character nods, which ties her with Tyrion and puts her right behind Oberyn Martell. So the fact that she's only gotten that many since she's gotten 4 character nods since season 2, episode 10, still tied for second.
Damn.
Or third, I mean.
She's well on her way. And like now we're in the era of the show where it's really just going to be Dany, Jon, Sansa, Cersei,
Tyrion, Sansa. Yeah,
it's those main 5 just the whole time.
We still got, as far as performances are concerned, people are going to have to do some heavy lifting to catch up to Lena Headey. Lena Headey's up, still pretty big, and hasn't gotten a single performance nod this season, I don't believe. You gave her the season premiere one, but
no Hodors, no Arya, no Bran, no Arya. But we got Sansa and Jon. A mention of Rickon. Another thought that hit me. There must be a Stark in Winterfell. Rickon is there. Sansa was there. Kind of not like she didn't like being there, but she was there. And then right when she leaves, a little gap in time, but Rickon shows up.
Well, the time that she leaves, Ramsay becomes the Warden of the North. Which, while Roose sucks, Ramsay's worse.
Yeah. And then I believe the next time a Stark leaves Winterfell is Rickon running and then getting shot in the Battle of the Bastards, and then they reclaim it after that whole thing goes there. So like literally now, like I was trying to think before Sansa was in Winterfell, there was no Stark there, right?
Mm-hmm.
Like that would have actually been a time where there was no Stark in Winterfell.
Yeah, that's when the Boltons had the opportunity to seize Winterfell.
That's crazy. But then from this point on, there is always a Stark in Winterfell. Does Sansa stay there after all the...
Yeah, she does not go south to King's Landing.
Yeah, okay.
She does for the finale.
Okay.
When they decide who's going to rule after Daenerys, but...
There we go, yeah. Okay, but man, yeah, this little teaser for Battle of the Bastards was so good, and we still have... I mean, we're still 5 episodes away from that, which is
we got
great.
A big one next week.
I know, dude. Oh, it's happening. And the
Hold
prediction,
the door.
The prediction, you at 35, me at 44. I'm gonna.
I feel like I lowballed that, but I'll stick with it.
It'll be interesting. to see that one. I've been waiting a long time. To clarify, it has to be a Hodor.
No, hold the door.
Once it starts to go Hodor, it no longer counts. So it has to be
a straight up Hodor. No gap between the ho and door. No, hold the door. No. No, hold the door. No. Hodor. 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 It's like the last three, I think, of the episode. I think we end on a cliffhanger of him seizing out on the ground, going Hodor, Hodor, Hodor.
Okay, so it has to be.
Dude, I cannot wait. The way that episode made me feel the first time I watched it, that was one of those just like, oh my god,
like excuse me, yeah, like
dude,
excuse
me? But in the meantime, what do we want to give this one? What are we rating it? Enjoyment, critical. Man. What do we got?
Ooh, okay. I mean, shit. Danny's moment was nice. This ending, great. Loved it. The Stark Sansa and Jon being back together was amazing to see. This in Marine, they stepped it up from last episode. It was awesome to finally, to get some very good conversations instead of just very kind of surface level or kind of more for the comedic purpose last episode.
I also appreciate the flipping on, last week Tyrion quotes himself. He's like, a wise man once said, and then this week Missandei quotes him.
Mm-hmm.
A wise man once said, we do not make peace with our friends, we make peace with our enemies.
Yeah. I don't know. This was very delightful. A nice watch. Let's see. Last episode we gave a 9.25.
I think the execution carried a lot of weight there.
Yeah. Yeah, even though the events were very I enjoyed, maybe I don't know, I think this is still up there.
I think that the ending of this episode is better than the ending of last episode.
This ending was nice.
And if that ending carried that to a 9.25, this carries it to at least a 9.25.
Is this a 9.5? Does it bump it up above? Or do we...
Let's see, we've given Sons of the Harpy a 9.5. Season 5, Episode 4. We gave The Mountain and the Viper a 9.5.
Ooh.
I would say this is that level. Daenerys emerging from those flames. It's not something you get every day, and that's a super sight there. I love that.
I do like that, and in a crowd kneeling. That's always
it's always nice.
Cool visual as well. Yeah, nice visual. Okay, yeah, I like 9.5 there.
And visually, I don't know what happened between last episode and this episode. Last episode wasn't ugly by any means. But visually, this one was fucking gorgeous. That shot of Longclaw sitting on the table with like the just sitting there as Ed approaches it and then picks it up and like beautiful. In Marine, there was one that stood out to me where Tyrion's about to make his way up those stairs that are like outside watching the ships arriving, and it's fucking gorgeous. There's some pretty stuff in this one.
Yeah, Marine as well, whenever Tyrion is like, I imagine rooms like these were made to make the rulers intimidating, and he gets down on their level and it follows him, and it was definitely a lot more pleasing to watch in last episode. And
I'd give this one probably a 8.75 or a 9.
Yeah, we haven't given any 8.75s or 9s on the season at all. It's definitely better than last episode and episode 1, which were 8.5s. Episode 2, we gave a 9.25. So
I say we go 8.75. Let's
closer to there. Episode 2 is pretty awesome. I mean, that's the resurrection of the boy. So guess who's back? Is that what I put? Yep, that's what I put for my scene. I've been getting very cryptic with my scenes, I guess. The naming.
I've noticed that.
I have guess who's back for the resurrection. Bye bye kiddo. For Ollie going
Ollie
bye
getting
bye.
killed.
And then this one I put a stark embrace. On this one, just very nice, happy tears. But a 9 average for the episode, if that is what we're going with, which puts it in second place on the season. 9.42 for episode 2, and then a 9 for this episode.
I would agree.
And
I think it would be my second favorite of the season, behind episode 2.
On IMDb, I believe this is given a 9. Exactly as well. It is. It is a 9 out of 10. So average, we did it. If that's the metric, I guess. But yeah, no Hodors. We'll get a whole lot of them next episode. I've been itching to see on that prediction. Maybe we overshot it. Who knows? Maybe it's like 20. I don't know.
35 is a lot of Hodors. Like, Hodor. That was 10, and that was a lot of Hodors.
Maybe we overshot it.
What's the most Hodors we've ever gotten in a single episode? Let me ask that.
Well, let's see. That's why I have this Excel sheet right here. 28. Oh shit, we got a 28 in an episode. That's actually kind of nuts. An 18 as well. In one of them, that's another.
I think we're right there. I think it's right there. In fact, we might be undershooting.
You think? Who fucking knows, dude?
If the highest episode yet is 28, and this is the episode that is about Hodor, gotta guess.
How much of the runtime is actually him and his story?
I couldn't tell.
Could it be like 70 something? No.
No way.
Man, this is gonna be good.
Like, I think that if we're undershooting it, it's not by much. I would go 50 something max.
Okay.
But granted, maybe there isn't a ton that builds up to that. Maybe it is just that.
I know. How much of the runtime is actually with Hodor?
Because I know we spend a lot of time in that vision,
Yeah. And let's see. Going to the fandom page. Just gonna see. It's probably at the end. At the wall. Okay. Yeah. Beyond the Wall. Here we go. Oh, it's quite long. In the summary, it is definitely the longest part of the summary. That's for sure. So maybe there is a lot of time spent there. Yeah, but there he is on the death list, which is just
fuck.
I wonder if there is an account somewhere. I don't know. Maybe I just want to wait actually and count them myself. And not just know the number that's already pre-counted. I don't know if that's as fun.
No.
So I think I'll just leave it be until we get there. But they're
wise.
There we are. Yeah.
But yeah, we got a lot to look forward to, man. I'm super excited for The Door next week, season 6, episode 5.
Mm-hmm.
But in the meantime, this week, what we've got lined up for the pod here, I believe is Manhunter for Michael Mann on Wednesday. And I'm very, very excited about that. That's going to be a goodie. And then this Friday, we are continuing our comic book movie journey through film with Iron Man 2. And we will get back around to Game of Thrones next Monday. So full schedule, 3 week. We've been maintaining that pretty much all fucking year, which is kind of crazy for us. And it feels like the norm now. If we ever do less than 3 a week, it'll feel like so light.
Yeah. Be crazy.
Imagine how much more stocking up we could do if we did 2 a week.
It'd be insane. Yeah, we imagine what 1 a week would feel like. That's what most people do.
That's what most podcasts are.
Yeah.
And it used to be what this podcast was. No fucking shot. No fucking shot.
Yeah, that'd feel like a vacation.
We've got too big of ambitions here. We have too much we want to talk about. We can't limit ourselves to one thing a week. No. We do anything we want when we want. And that is what we will continue to do. But if you would, head to patreon.com/PennyBloomPod, where you'll find over 50 hours of exclusive content, including all sorts of book reviews, movie reviews, comic book reviews, and the like. For $3 a month, you can get access to our exclusive audio content over there, and for $1.50, you get exclusively the writing there. No audio content, but that $3 tier does include the written content and the audio content and all that. So if you support us financially over there, it's huge because this podcast costs me money and I don't make any off of it unless it's over there. Remember to head to Twitter, follow at PennyBloomPod, follow on Instagram at PennyBloomPodcast. Remember to follow on Letterboxd at PennyBloomPod and to leave a 5-star rate and review wherever you might be listening and to continue to download. It means a lot. We actually just got our Apple Podcasts review number just went up one. So we got a review recently. Someone listened and it was 5 stars. So I appreciate you.
Thank you.
It means the world. I love it. That really helps our search metrics. The more reviews you have, the more our podcast will pop up at the top of lists when they search things, and that'd be a huge help for people finding the pod. But yeah, with that, we conclude this episode of Winter is Blooming. I was Colton Robertson. I was joined by Joseph George. Thank you very much, homie.
Oh, thank you for having me. It is always a pleasure to be here.
Oh, and it is always a pleasure to have you. And remember, peace, love, and bloom. And a monster has taken our home and our brother. We have to go back to Winterfell and save them both.